Hi, I'm Deborah Atkinson, and you're watching Flipping 50 TV, the place to reset, tune up, and prepare for your second and better half with the vitality and the energy that you want. In every episode, I answer questions from women just like you about what they're struggling with most, and I share how to move, what to eat, and small daily flips that you can make so you can get the most results in the least amount of time. And I'd love to hear your question. Send it to me at flipping50tv.com. If I choose your question for the show, I'm going to send you some juicy gifts. I'll tell you a little bit more about at the end, so stay tuned. And even if I don't choose your question, you'll right away get my copy of Muscles in Minutes. It's a guide to the best exercises to make the most difference in your metabolism right now. Today's episode is all about answering a question from Linda, who writes that she needs to know how to budget. Where do I spend the money? What's the most important not to compromise on, and where is it least important? She mentions that she wants the highest quality supplements, but she can't afford all her wish list of items. Linda also asked me about energy. She's finding it hard to get up, regardless of how she slept. Her exercise is waning, and since she moved to altitude, this has become a real problem. We're going to tie it all together and answer these questions for Linda. Today's Chalk Talk is going to be short and sweet, and I'm going to address Linda's questions, both of them. The first one is actually, show me the money, or show me where to spend the money. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Muscles in Minutes and how should you invest in your home gym. What do you need and what don't you need? And then we're going to take it to the kitchen for Minute Maid meals, but also Minute Maid supplements, and really talk about those pricey supplements and the large number of them that can be distracting, so you'll know exactly which ones you need. And Linda, for you, the ones that might most be tied to your fatigue. And we're specifically going to hit on vitamin D and talk about iron, as well as a couple other things that might be contributing to fatigue. Okay, so if you're looking to build a home gym and you want to have a bare bones gym, this is really all you need. You're looking at it, and I've got a couple of options here, so you can eliminate even some of this. So here's where I start. The first thing I would recommend for anybody at home is 3 pairs of dumbbells, so that you've got what is a light, a moderate, and a heavy dumbbell. So for instance, for little muscles in your shoulders, you're gonna want something that's a 2 or a 3 pound weight. Now, they don't necessarily have to be pink, okay? And then I've got a 5 pound weight. So you might do 5 or you might do 8, and it's all relative to you, okay? I'm just giving you a starting point. And then for another moderate weight, I've got a 10 pound weight. So depending again on your strength, don't compare what you need to me, but smaller or lighter, moderate and heavy. And as a heavy option, I have a kettlebell. Now, a kettlebell is just a dumbbell in a different shape. So it's not, remember, the tool. It's what you do with the tool that matters. This happens to be a 30 pound kettlebell. I can use that to hold on to it for chest presses, bent over rows, or I can hold it while I do squats. So it gives you some options that are easier to hold. That's just an option, but 3 sets of dumbbells would do you really, really well. That gets you started. The next thing I'd invest in is an exercise ball. Now this one, size-wise, is a 65 centimeter, and they're gonna come in 55, 65, and 75. Most commonly, you'll find some at 45. So you petite gals may want something that's a 45. I'm 5'4", and I like 65. If you read the chart according to height, it's gonna recommend a 55 centimeter ball, but you're going to have many more options with the 65. So know that, but do know this too. If you can go into a store and blow it up or find one blown up, you're going to be much better off, because the property of plastic is not the same from one brand to the next. So I would invest in a higher quality ball. And I share some of my best resources for some of these things, like balls and tubing, on my website. And I'll share that link in the show notes today. So next up is probably gonna be an exercise mat. If you're doing yoga or Pilates, or you're on a hardwood floor like this one, you're gonna want some kind of a mat just for a little padding. So there's two ways to go. This is the Rolls Royce of a mat. It's called a Meduca mat, and it's very firm, and it's probably a good 1/4 inch thick. It really feels good for doing yoga, even on a hardwood floor, and I'll use it to do my weights when I'm lying down as well. That one is probably not the most reasonable, but it's lasted forever, and I love it. This one from a company I love who also makes yoga wear is called Prana. It's the color that I love about this one. It's got a fair amount of thickness, but it's not nearly as firm and supportive. So just know what you need, and you might want to go and test one out before you buy it. Last but not least, exercise bands. And if you're somebody who's compromised, can't get up and down on the floor very easily because your knees or your hips joints don't allow you to do that, you're gonna definitely want some options for standing leg work, and these will do that. So this is just a short Versa band, it's called. This is from Perform Better, and I share my link on the website, flipping50.com/resources. So you can see exactly what it is. I would order 2 or 3 of them. If you leave them sitting in the sun, they're not gonna last forever, and they're very affordable. So these travel really great. Throw them into a suitcase and you've got an easy exercise to do. Another option is a long-handled tubing. So where that's a band, this is tubing. Get the handles, and if you've got issues with arthritis, you can get these handles padded, kind of dialing up the level of your tubing, if you will. This is kind of a light tubing. It's not extra light, it's not medium, but light has done me really well for about 25 years. So it allows me to get full range of motion, and I love that for my clients. So I'd rather have great form, full range of motion, than compromising range of motion and not so great form. So think about that when you're choosing one. And you might be better doubling up on 2 light or extremely light bands than going to the next level up. These, all very affordable and take very little space, but can definitely round out your home gym. And we're gonna go from here to the kitchen and talk about supplements. Okay, Linda, so we're gonna talk about 3 different areas right here in terms of investing. So investing in supplements. So knowing that you've already discovered that you cannot possibly eat all the calories that you need to take in all the micronutrients you need, you know you need a supplement, and your question is, where do I invest and which is the best? So you want to invest in something. This is one of my favorites, as far as a multivitamin that is taken in multiple doses. So being able to walk into your corner pharmacy and buy a vitamin you take once a day and then forget it, those days are over. So you're really looking for something a little bit more intelligent, and when you start reading the label on the ingredients, you'll find out just how different it is. Most of the smart or intelligently made multivitamins are made based on the nutrients that many of us are now deficient in, and many of them are related to the fatigue that you're currently experiencing. So first, invest in that. A multivitamin across the board is necessary for all of us. Don't skimp on something that you're gonna do every single day, because that matters more. So another option for multivitamins or supplements is omega-3s. And take an omega-3 with D. So look for a supplement that offers you that. This is, again, one of my favorites, flipping50.com/resources. I just share the ones I literally use every day with you. Linda, you told me you're experiencing fatigue after you've moved to a higher altitude and you really just can't shake it. So it's hard to get up in the morning even though you've slept really well. That could be tied to a couple of things. The vitamin D that you can take really easily, not just in a multivitamin, but potentially if you've dug yourself in a hole and you're deficient or you're taking insufficient amounts of it in, you're going to want to fill that hole. So taking a little extra D can be really important. For women, magnesium is often tied to fatigue as well. So you may want to look at that. And there are 3 types of magnesium. This is another really good place to invest in your health. Magnesium oxide is actually really harsh on your stomach and can act a lot like something that's going to cause diarrhea. You don't want to go that route. So nobody probably wants that one, even though it's the most economical sitting on the shelf. The next 2, magnesium citrate. If you have a little challenge with constipation, or you can sometimes, and you're looking for a little help with sleep as well as the fatigue, that's your ticket. If you have no trouble with constipation, you're very regular, or you're really sensitive, you probably want magnesium glycinate. And that's going to be a little bit more expensive, but well worth the investment because it's going to give you everything you want and nothing you don't. And Linda, for you, because you've moved to altitude, whether you were fine on your iron levels prior to moving there, you might want to take another look at what's going on with your iron levels. Literally have it tested. And I can share a link in the show notes about where you can do that really easily. You have to specifically ask for it, knowing that you might have low iron levels. But an iron supplement might be somewhere where you want to invest. I just would advise, don't just do that blindly. Know your numbers first. So investing in a good test for your micronutrients could be a great way to know whether you should spend money or you can save it. And then last but not least, for convenience, so many of us are doing protein powders to make a smoothie in minutes for breakfast and not have that excuse of I don't have time for breakfast, or I don't have time to eat well for breakfast. But the key is find one that's clean. By clean, that means when you turn the label around and read it, there are probably 5 to 7 ingredients and that's it. And you can pronounce every single one of them and you know exactly what they are. A lot of protein powders are containing things like dairy and soy, and dairy may be okay with you, but soy for most of us is not. Maltodextrin, sucrose, sucralose, any of those types of additives are frequently found on ingredients, and they're actually counter to the reason you're doing it in the first place, to be healthier, probably to have more lean and less fat, and they're honestly going to help you store fat easier. So you want to leave anything out that's got an OSE on the end of the ingredient, and make sure you're reading your label really closely. So if you're using protein powders or protein shakes, make sure they're clean and invest in an upgrade if they're not. Same with supplements, and then look at your own needs. But Linda, for you, back to fatigue, make sure you're drinking plenty of water, more than you did before you moved to altitude, and look at the fact that you may need more sleep at altitude than you did somewhere else. You may also need just a few more carbohydrates because there's more energy being expended at a higher altitude than you might have accounted for. Try those things one at a time, like a scientific experiment, and then you'll know which flip is right for you. So the flip of the day is investing time and money and energy in your health is actually going to save you time, money, and energy in the long run. And I'll see you on the flip side. Linda, thanks so much for asking your question. And now I'd like to hear from you. Send me your question to flipping50tv.com. And if I choose your question for the show, I'm going to send you a trio of products from my friends at Anne Marie Skincare. I'll give you private access to the After 50 Fitness Formula for Women online course and send you a copy of my book, You Still Got It, Girl. And even if I can't choose your question for the show, I'm going to send you Muscles in Minutes, my guide to toning those hard to tone areas and even getting at cellulite, just as my thanks for sending your question. What are you waiting for? Let's start Flipping 50 together. Head on over to flipping50tv.com and shoot me your question. And I'll see you on the flip side.